What's up, military millionaires? I am David Pere, the founder of the Military Millionaire community. Look at that, sounding all official. Look, I want to answer a question that I get asked all the time. How do you change your TSP allocations and allotments and contributions and where the money goes, and how do you work the TSP website, and what allocations should I put my money into, right? I'm going to talk through a little bit of this through this video. I'm going to show you on the website. Yes, this is going to actually be like my TSP right now. So full disclosure, two things. One, I did not do this right at the beginning. So I didn't put as much money into this as I should have. It would be a lot more if I had put more money in or known what fund to put the money in. However, I've been putting like 30 to 60% of my paycheck in for the last year or two. So there's actually, it's a decent amount of money in here. It's not crazy. It's by no means the vast majority of my, wealth. A lot of that's through real estate, but it is decent. So I show you this as a full disclosure. Just don't hate on me because of it looks like I'm showing off, or don't hate on me because it's not as much as you would want to see in there. Like, this is it, right? This is the reason I'm showing you this is to hopefully help you guys out. So just please, I hope it doesn't backfire on me that I'm going to just show the inside of the account and you guys are going to get to see everything. With that being said, because this is kind of a little weird and I normally don't do this amount of vulnerability, I'd love it if you hit the like button because that will tell YouTube this is somewhat worthwhile. And I'd especially love it if you subscribed, if you got something out of this, because I'm going to keep doing good content like this. I try to be vulnerable. I try to be out there. Transparency is one of our core values in the military millionaire community. And so while this might be a little bit uncomfortable, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to walk you through some of this. And I'm not going to tell you what fund to put money in, but I'm going to you'll see where mine is. And then I'll kind of tell you how I came to that decision towards the end and recommend a book that you should read if you want to get better at this, or what you should do if you want to just be hands off, right? So without further ado, let's log in. And yeah, I'm just going to leave this here. You're going to get to see, yep, two-factor authentication. Look, there's a number. We're going to type in said number. You'll get to do this every time you log in, whether you like it or not. And there we are, right? So this is full transparency, right? So since we're being transparent, you're going to see everything anyway. So right now I'm sitting at $79,533.23. Of that, 74.21% is in the C fund, 25.79% is in the S fund. It is set up to where my contributions are 75-25. This just means that the S fund has grown a little bit faster than the C fund, which it has this year, and we'll kind of dig through some of that a little bit. And so that breaks out to me having about 60 grand in the C fund and just over 20 grand in the S fund. And then share price, obviously, you see that. So I have 1,000 shares of C fund and 251 shares of the S fund. So this is as raw as it gets, right? And then you can see account balance by contribution broken down here, and then contribution summary. So you can see that so far this year, this is what I've put in contributions so far year to date. So this is only counting January, February, $2,500. And that's actually because I dropped it to 30% instead of 60%, which it's back up at now. So that'll go back up. And then, yeah, you can see here that in the traditional account that I've put $21,000 into the traditional TSP because I put a lot in there before I knew what I was doing. And you can see that I've got $50,000 in the Roth, which is where I put the vast majority now. But also the traditional is where the matching contribution goes automatically. So that's your matching contribution will always go to traditional. You can't change that. Service member, automatic, 1% contribution. So you can see right here that I've got by contribution $7,000 ish. That was my 5% match. So this is why you should always do at least the 5% matching, because that adds up very quickly, and you can even break it down to shares. So this is cool. So for those of you who don't know, to change your contribution, like the amount you contribute, you go to your MyPay account and you can change in there. You go down to TSP contribution, and then you can put 10%, 20%, 30%, and you can pick traditional or Roth. And I've got a lot of videos on this, but the short breakdown is I would say, think of it like this. If you think you're going to make more money in retirement than you do now, Roth. If you think you're going to make more money in now than you do in retirement, traditional. So it's like, do you want to pay the taxes now or later? So if you think you're going to make more money now, then you should pay the taxes later. And if you think you're going to make more money later, then pay the taxes now. So you want to try to pay the taxes in the smaller tax bracket, and then also factor in, do you think taxes are going to be higher or lower by the time you retire? That's the long and short. With the Roth, you pay the taxes up front and you don't pay them later. And with the traditional, you pay the taxes later, you don't pay them up front. And that actually helps reduce your taxable income for the year if you contribute to traditional. But again, it depends on how much you're making. So anyway, go to recent transactions just to show you guys the way around the site. So you can see here. So this one right here, this contribution on January 4th. This is what the 60% contribution looks like when I'm putting 60% in. So it hit $17.97 into C fund, $5.99 into S fund, and then so there's the total $23.96. And then this is the matching contribution that coincided with that. So that's the service member automatic 1%, 29, and then what I contributed as the service member match 159. So $200 essentially is the match. So it's like $2,400 a year. And then this is it. This is when I dropped it to 30% for a month or two, and I increased it back to 60. I'm trying to max it out before I get out. So 1,028. So you can see the difference there. So anyway, so that's recent transactions, account summary. You guys kind of already saw this, but beginning balance of, I guess, October 1st. So you can do this back for a year or whatever. So let's go a full year by March 1st. So as of March 1st to now, my beginning balance was 40,000. So I've grown almost doubled in the last year. And that is because, well, for one, I put 20,000 in, $19,562 in the last year. Right, that's about as good as it gets. That's right at the cap. It's actually a little bit over the cap, but I think that's just because, I don't know. I mean, the new year started, right? So it doesn't really factor. And there's actually, I put a little bit of a bonus in there because I got the 12-year continuation pay bonus, and I put some of it straight into this, like $2,500 or something like that. So you can see that I did an interfund transfer here, which is basically I reset the allocation of my account. It was a little bit too far off from the 75-25, so I reset it. And then you can see that I gained just about $20,000 this year in interest. So last year was a pretty good year for the stock market, right? And I didn't touch this. I don't move it into G fund when I think the market's going to dip. I just leave it, right? Long term, don't touch it. Pick an allocation and go with it. And then you can dig into statements and documentations and all this other stuff, right? There's all kinds of other things, message center or whatever. So this is where you guys want, right? Contribution allocations. So if you want to change this, so right now I have it set to 75-25. So you hit request contribution allocations, you go over here and you would pick whatever you want. So I'm going to talk about this for just a minute, right? If you are not familiar with the funds at all, or you don't want to deal with trying to figure out what funds are best for you, or you don't want to do the research, pick one of these, right? If you would just want to set this and forget it, pick whichever life cycle fund is going to be the year you turn 60 and you can start withdrawing, or the closest to it. They just did these. They used to be every 10 years. Now they're every 5 years, so it's even better. So let's say, like for me, I should turn 60 right around here, 2050. So I would pick Life Cycle 2050, 100%. Boom. Easy day, right? Then I never have to worry about it again. Now, if you want to play the system a little bit, if I did 2045, it would be a little bit more conservative. And if I did 2055, it would be a little bit more aggressive, because what it does is this fund shifts. So it's more aggressive as you're younger, as it should be, because you can afford some risk and you can afford some volatility for those bigger gains. And then as you get older, it slowly moves into more conservative, more G fund related allocations. And I'll be able to show you that on here in a minute. I'll show you kind of the difference in the different fund. I'll make sure I do that. So if you want to do what I did and leave it in the G fund, so just for the record, it used to start off in the G fund no matter what. Now it starts off automatically in the life cycle fund for your age. So that's good, because this is what cost me literally tens of thousands of dollars, because I left my money in the G fund for like 7 years putting money in. And the G fund never loses money, but it only goes up like 2%. It's basically bonds. It's government-backed securities. Not going to lose money, not really going to gain money. So in a down market, the G fund is safe. In an up market, you don't want to be in it. You want to be in these. And then you can see, so this is international and then small cap. Basically, these mirror like the S&P, which is where my money is right now. And then, yeah. So anyway, so there you go. So you literally just go in here and change. And this will change where your money goes going forward. So if you want to change your future contributions, you go here, you change this, right? And then you hit continue, and it'll be review and submit. Let's see if it'll even let me walk through if I just do the same exact thing. Continue. No. Yeah, so I would have to change it. I don't want to do that. So then you review and submit, confirm, right? So inner fund transfer. This is where you fix it if your funds aren't where you want. So like right here, right now, you go here and you can just put whatever you want. So if I wanted to set this back to 75 and 25, I would just do that. It's not far enough off that I care right now, but I'd hit continue and it would just move the money around to make it back into 75, 25. So if you get in here and you're like, man, I don't like where my money has been going for the last few years, you go to the interfund transfers piece right here. You walk over here and you just put 100% or break it out however you want. The reason I do S and C is because that kind of mirrors the S&P 500. Told you guys I'd mention a book. Read The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins if you want to learn how to pick these funds. I'm not by any means recommending that you do the CNS fund. That's just what I've chosen. That kind of mirrors the S&P 500 and VTSAX, which is a Vanguard index fund. But it's really going to depend on your own risk, right? Like these are more aggressive funds. This is a more aggressive allocation. I've got friends who do C, S, and I. I've got friends who do a whole mix. There's like millions of different ways that you can allocate these funds. So I recommend that you either read Simple Path to Wealth and learn about these different funds, or you go with the life cycle fund if you're not going to go out of your way to choose the right fund for you and whatever, right? Then we dig into this. I'm not going to go too deep into this. The current loan rate is 1.375 if you borrowed money from your TSP. And you can borrow up to $50,000 or half of your value. I could borrow just shy of 40 grand right now at 1.375% interest, which could be great. But if the market's going up in value, you got to factor in how much you're losing in gain because that money is not working for you while it's out. And then there's a couple different rules, right? I have to have, you have to be, it's a period of 1 to 5 years, one general purpose loan, TSP loan, like there's all kinds of different rules, and you can request a general purpose or a residential loan, and I'm not going to dig into all that right now. If you guys really want me to do that, let me know, but I generally think that a loan from TSP is the wrong answer. And then you can do, if you want to withdrawals, there's different ways to withdraw. Yeah, so that's the basics. I told you guys I was going to go over the funds, so hang on just a moment. Fund performance. Let's do rates of return. All right, so yeah, that looks good. So here's what you'll see. We would do 2020. So the life cycle fund, or the life cycle income, learned 5.15, and this is, keep in mind, this is 2020. And so these 2025 funds, like the every 5th year, are new, so they don't have the data. 2030 earned 11.6, 2040 13. 2050. So you can see right here, right? These guys are getting closer to retirement, so they earned less because they're less aggressive, earned more because they're more aggressive. And so that's the reason behind this. These 2050 life cycle funds are more aggressive right now because they're longer until they get to pull out. Just like this one, I'm sure would be even more aggressive. I mean, you can see it right here. So far in 2021, earned 1.9, earned 2.47. Now, that's great. But that also means that if the market downturns, then they're going to be more exposure. So, and then here we see the G fund, like I said, didn't lose money, never has, but earned only 0.97% last year. So if you had all your money in the G fund, my funds were 18.31 and 31.85. So I almost wish I'd been 50-50, right? Imagine that extra 12% interest I would have gotten, 13% interest I would have gotten if I'd had more money, if it was 75S, but it's not always the same, right? Like, S fund earned less here, S fund earned less here, so they vary, right? And then 8.17. So, this year it varies. So pick a fund, pick an allocation, and then go for it, right? Pick what works for you. Now let's see if I can find. There was a piece that I was looking for, and then about fund options. There we go. Life cycle funds. was hoping. There we go. So here you go. So you can see this is 2040. So if you turn 60 in 2040, you see that it's 20% G fund, 36% C fund, 10% S fund, 25% I fund, right? So you kind of see that allocation right there. I was hoping it would just have like a compare button, but you see that, right? There's 20% in the G fund. The vast majority is S fund. Now let's go to the 2060, which should be more aggressive. All right, so 2060 is 50% C fund, 15% S fund, 34% I fund, and literally less than 0.5% in the G fund, right? So this is much more aggressive because this is for people who are retiring in the near future or in, 40 years from now. And life cycle 25, so this is people coming up on retirement right now. You see that it's 46% G fund, and then still C fund, still I fund, but much higher concentration in the G fund. And that's because if the market tanks, this won't lose money. So you will only be having like 54% of your portfolio has that risk. And so this will make it much easier for you to weather that. And so this fund didn't exist in 2020. It's a new one. Anyway, you guys get the point. So I hope this helps explain how to change your contribution, how to change your allocation, and how to move funds around in your account, and just how to navigate the tsp.gov website. It's fairly simple, and you can, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do in here. You can manage you can do planning, you can do, they've got calculators. I think I've shown you guys the calculator before, so I'm not going to dig into that. Check out my other TSP videos. If you can't find it or you want more specific stuff on calculator, happy to walk through that. But oh, and yes, you totally can compare funds. Look at this. All right. Anyway, not going to rabbit trail. I hope you got something out of this. Subscribe, the little thing over there. Subscribe if you did get something out of this. And I'd love it if you hit that like button if you haven't already. But the most beneficial thing you can do is if you think this is helpful to answer some of your questions about the thrift savings plan, share it with some of your service members, right? Like show them when they ask you how to change your TSP, show them this and it'll answer all their questions. It's probably better than you having to walk them through it on their computer, especially if you don't know exactly where everything is. And I've seen some service members unfortunately steer people in the wrong way. So don't tell people what fund they should put their money in. Just kind of explain what the funds are and let them decide for themselves, right? Everybody's risk tolerance is different. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, hope this helped. Have a great day.